Today we are discussing about a topic called as one idea rule. Often we have faced situations where we need to communicate certain critical information to the other parties while we are working in companies. The purpose of communication is to convey the message in its original form and intent so that the other party is able to understand the message in its importance. The purpose of the message is to ensure that the idea what the person is communicating reaches the other party in its original form. The purpose is to ensure that the idea reaches across the other party as it was intended to reach. While we are focusing on the message transfer, as we all know, communication is a two-way interaction which involves two or many parties. Communication always involves two or more parties. The purpose of retaining the message is to ensure that the core of the message is as relevant as it was while it was being sent. It is important that the message that is transferred to the other party does not lose its relevance, or the conveyed message does not gather any noise. So we all know communication can be of many types. It can be interaction, it can be a face-to-face interaction, it can be written communication, or it can be a virtual communication, as you have seen in these current days because of the pandemic situation. In this video, we are specifically going to cover written communication and the importance of conveying the message formally through the channels. Written format has its own advantages and disadvantages. While we see written formats have their authenticity and the formality in the approach, we also know that written communication has demerits, such as the other person is not able to understand the emotions or is not able to have the feel about the message. This is why, for written communications, it is important that the sender of the message restricts to the core of the message or keeps the message as uh, focused as possible. The core message of the communication should be retained throughout the message. The entire communication should be focused around the core fact that is to be conveyed to the other party. There should be only one idea that is communicated through the message, such that there is no conflicting thoughts that comes across the mind of the reader. He goes through the message. So, what are the important aspects that the person should remember while drafting a message in a written format? There is a simple policy called as one idea rule, which implies that when a person is drafting a message to the other party, there are some key aspects that he needs to ensure are as relevant and focused as possible. The crux of the message should be the core message that is conveyed to the other party. While drafting the message, these are the following things that the person should understand. So while drafting the message, while keeping the focus on the core fact or the core information, the person needs to ensure that the following. The first aspect is what is the necessity of the information for the sender? What is the relevance of the information for the sender? How critical is the information? And what is the approach that the person would be having towards after receiving this intended message? So first we understand the relevance to the message. Secondly, we can also try to provide the facts that support the core idea. We can provide informations and references that supports and backs up the core message. This saves the time for the reader to look for factual information to cross-check the message that has been received. Providing additional facts also supports the cause of the message and improves the authenticity. The other party, while going through the message, may have relevant doubts and clarifications that comes up. It is also suggested the center of the message adds up counterpoints or suggestions and feedbacks in the message itself, so that it saves the purpose of the receiver going back to the sender for clarifications on the core message. So basically, we find that the simplest and easiest approach towards written communication is to keep the message focused on the core aspect of the message, Secondly, the core message should not have any other uh, connecting points. The core message should not be disturbed with additional data. The core message can also be supported for authentication with additional facts and relevant references. The core message should be also having counterpoints so that the receiver or the uh, other party does not have the pain in asking the clarifications or feedbacks after going through the core message. So three aspects will suffice the proper communication channel. So maintaining these three aspects will fulfill the need of communicating through a formal written channel in companies. The first aspect is to retain the core message. Second aspect is to add additional relevant factual details and references to the core message. And the third aspect is to ensure that the reader of the message or the receiver of the message does not have any other clarifications that comes up after receiving the message. So counterpoints and arguments to the core idea can be added in the message itself. It is also a good idea to add up the relevant contact information to the appended message so that the person is able to get back to the center of the message. So today's video we have discussed about the best approach towards writing a formal communication using the one idea rule. Thank you for watching this video.